That! Oh, man, yeah. You idiots who spent $100,000 on vintage Dumble lamps. Yeah, guess what? It's the speaker.
Hello! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Adam Steele, and...
They already know that. It says right on the screen. Can we do that again, please, without the bullshit intro?
No. This is Glenn Fricker. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know who he is. He's very loud and egregious on camera to lots and lots of music tech fans and guitarists around the world. And I wanted to sit down for an unusual video with you, which is to take the character off a little for a change.
No!
And get to know how you ended up where you ended up.
Okay.
Because you've not been full-time as a YouTube guy for your whole career, right?
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah. So, where
Where do you want to start?
Well, let's briefly talk from what you did before YouTube. There's no need to go into the whole childhood. It's not a therapy session.
Okay.
But, yeah, a lot of people who won't know what you did because you didn't talk about it in the early days.
No, I didn't. I kept it secret until I went full time.
And, yeah, retired and got out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, retired as in
Yeah.
goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. I was an auto worker for like 27 years. And let's see, opened my studio in 98 was when I recorded my first band. And the whole idea was, well, my background was media arts. So I took a little bit of film, video, multi-image, and audio. And I got hired at Chrysler in 1993. And I figured, oh, hey, I know what to do. Well, I'm single. I'll buy a house and open a studio. That will be easy. Yeah, wow. Because, well, video tech back then was like stupidly expensive. So I figured getting into audio might be a little bit more affordable, especially with the new digital systems coming out. You know, ADAT still reigned supreme at the time, that kind of thing. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to get into it. And I remember I was reading in a guitar magazine, I don't know, sometime around 96, something like that, about this new system from Metalithic Systems. It was called Digital Wings for Audio, and it was going to do 128 tracks, and which was just fucking unheard of at the time. Like, what's that? So I went and researched it. When I actually got one, I had one of the very first ones. I worked with Metalithic Systems for like about a year and a half before they folded. That's always great, you know.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, because they had this own DAW system where it was going to like do all the computations like right on the card, and the memory was built in and all that kind of stuff. And when I got it, it was really primitive because you'd set up a mix, you'd hit play, and then it would play, but anytime you change anything in the mix, it would have to re-render the whole file.
Right.
That took a while, you know what I mean? But it was like about 128 tracks, yeah.
What year was that again?
96, 97, somewhere around then.
Still early days for digital.
Oh, yeah, especially. I mean, like, Saw existed at the time as well on PC, which was 4 tracks. Which was pretty impressive. And then I think they maybe went to 8 or something like that. But you needed like a whole SCSI hard drive system, which was like mega expensive at the time. But that was using machine language. And so it was incredibly fast, so it could pull off a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, Saw was like huge bucks too, like $3,000 back then or something like that. So one thing leads to another. Finally, Metalithic, updated their software, and then, you had a little render line, so you could start playing and making changes, and got a little bit better. And then they decided to cancel the software altogether and gave everybody a free copy of Cubase. So I still got the box of that. Right. I'm like, great. And I had an 8-channel thing, but somewhere around, and I think I said fuck that, and I went with Cakewalk for the first couple of years.
Right.
And I recorded my first band professionally in like December '98. And then just started doing more and more bands. And then, 2000, somewhere around there, I switched over to a pair of M Audio Delta 1010s and a 2-channel Apogee Rosetta, which was, a really nice
the posh stuff
converter. Because I figure, nine times out of 10, you're just doing single channels. Yeah. So it made fucking perfect sense. And then,
something that made a big difference then, much less so now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the new converters we have are just like insane. I'm like, even the cheap stuff is great these days. Yeah. So, it's really, the technology has matured quite a bit over the last 20 years.
Yeah, but companies like Apogee made their name when there was a name to be made.
Yes. Yeah. The Rosetta was like seriously nice gear.
But yeah, not so much talking about gear for a minute. Okay. Because that's very interesting. But what I want to kind of talk about is like, because you were working in the automotive industry, but you had the media training.
Yes.
So they're almost parallel lives because what a lot of people see on camera think it's you, but it's the you from the production line.
Yes, exactly.
It's the caricature that you kind of developed.
I suppose.
It is you, though. It's not an act.
No,
but
it's
it
not an
is.
act. It's just like in the auto industry, nobody's got time for anybody's bullshit. You know, you live your life at 42 seconds at a time. So it's just like you learn to get to the point because you just simply don't have time for any nonsense. It's like, say what you want, get it out the fucking door because I got to get this part in the fucking van. And if you don't fucking say it, too fucking bad. So that's kind of like, you know,
Yeah. Well, that wasn't just you. That was everybody.
that was everybody. Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of, you know, took that kind of mentality and put it into the show. It's like, let's get the bullshit. Let's just get to the point. Because that drove me insane. I remember, you know, I started doing the studio thing for, you know, a number of years and had a lot of fun doing it, you know, for a very long time. But I kept seeing the bands making the same mistakes and over 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 again. So, and the thing was, you know, when around 2008, 2009, something like that, the DSLR technology started coming along, and I'm like, ooh, now I can do music videos because that's what I originally wanted to do was music videos. So started, you know, doing a lot of research into that. And working with some of the early cameras, and you know, I think I settled on I had like a 50D I had hacked so I could shoot it raw.
Right.
You know, and I was shooting like, you know, a Bullock's anamorphic on that, and so I've still got that lens. That thing's incredible.
Nice. We were on that wave too. We had a 5D Mark II, and we did the same kind of idea.
Yeah, you ran the Magic Lantern raw hack.
Oh,
yep,
yes.
Yep. I did like a zombie video on that thing, and it was great. But the thing is, it'd stall out half the time, so you'd have to redo the take. Oh god,
Yep.
it was a whole thing.
I remember that very well because the only possible upgrade was like stratospheric cost for film camera.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're staring at a couple of Blackmagic. Oh, B-Raw. Are we shooting B-Raw right now?
we are.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's like the easiest thing
Nobody
ever.
cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
How
Exactly.
times have changed.
Yes. Yeah. How far the camera tech come.
Yeah, in a very relatively short period.
If only Blackmagic could put a fucking flip screen on their cameras, they might actually be somewhat convenient. Because right now we're looking at a couple of camera lenses and some red tally lights, which I gotta say is a slight improvement, but the fact that we don't know what the shot actually looks like isn't much fucking help. Way to go, Blackmagic. Please smarten the fuck up.
Yeah, I used to film before these on the Blackmagic production camera 4K.
Oh yeah.
And that was
That was a
useless.
nice game. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, the big square box thing.
the
Yeah.
square
Oh,
box,
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it filmed in ProRes, which at the time nothing else did.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I could call
Well,
it.
that thing, I had the original Blackmagic pocket pain in the ass camera, the 16 mil. And
We've got one of those too
yeah.
upstairs somewhere.
Battery would last,
3 minutes.
3 minutes. The memory card lasts 9 or something. Oh, God, what a pain in the ass. Look cool, though.
Yeah.
As
So
long as you put an IR cut filter on it.
I think that's the thing about the both of us. We're both kind of camera nerds because we kind of got into that. Because yeah, you're a little older than I am, but I got into it through Liam, my best friend, who's here, who was a film director.
Right, okay.
And I was a photography kid.
Okay.
And so he was like, well, here's how you make it move.
Yeah.
And then, think about composition, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it's interesting that you were studying media before you ended up in any of this.
Yeah.
So
And that was the thing when I started doing YouTube, everyone's like, wow, why does your stuff look so good? And I'm like, well, I had a great teacher.
yeah,
You know, I mean, like my professor was Vladimir Kablek. He's an award-winning filmmaker from Toronto, Ontario, originally from Hungary. He jumped the Iron Curtain in the 80s, that kind of thing. He was a really inspiring dude. You know, and he was an incredible photographer. You can check out some of his stuff online. He was definitely a wonderful example to follow. You know, but he was nicknamed Vlad the Impaler for good reason. He didn't put up with any shit.
it sounds like his voice speaks through you.
Yeah. There's a little bit of Vlad in there, absolutely. But yeah, he was a tough teacher. But the thing was, the thing I always appreciated about him was he would show you where you were fucking up and go, okay, let's take a look here. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. This looks like you got, you always hear me say this, hey, that's great for your sister's birthday party, but that's not going to cut it here. That was a Vlad line, actually, because I remember bringing in some shots. I shot with a just non-camera flash. She's like, this might be fine for your sister's birthday party, but we're trying to shoot professional. Oh, fuck. Okay. So that's just straight out of what I learned in college. So I can't take credit for that line. That's my film professor, Vlad. So cool.
I suppose the question that leads me on to is, how did you do the media study and have the love for the cameras and end up running a studio? how do you choose between video and sound?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, like I did a couple of music videos in college because that's what I wanted to do was music videos, and we'd have to record the band first. And I remember we got down to the studio, and we had like a 16-track Studer, like a 2-inch 16-track Studer, nice fucking piece of gear. We had a nice board and one. I remember my buddy mixed our song, and I was like, I hated it. And I'm like, do you mind if I take a crack at this? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So he ran tape, and I mixed it, and I'm like, just like, oh, I get this. This is cool. I can do this. So that's kind of where that came from. I really enjoyed, I got to do like 2 serious mixes in college on the Studer, and I really enjoyed that.
Right.
So that's why I'm thinking, oh, I might want to get into this instead because this was a little more fun. Because I had fun like producing the song as well, coaching the guitar players, and just getting the performances out of the musicians and stuff. Because I really did love it at the time.
Right.
That is until the musicians crushed my dreams. then you open your own studio, decide, hey, we're gonna produce all these great records, and then you realize you're basically teaching a bunch of dumb fucks how to play their instruments because they didn't fucking practice.
Which is always the unfortunate problem with the local band scenario.
Yeah.
No matter where you
It's
go,
not just the local bands. Don't kid yourself.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Professional musicians. Yeah. Right. They just come into the studio and nail it, kids. Yeah, that's how it really works in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, nod if you agree, but I have met major label musicians who don't know they're not on their own records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that leads us on to, I suppose, because I've been watching your videos since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we're very similar in a lot of ways, that it just kind of...
I'm just checking out your graphics on your stream deck. Fucking cool, man. Is that like patching and shit? Like
yeah, so that's the KHE MIDI switcher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's...
Oh, that's MIDI capable?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I've got one. I should probably hook it up.
Yeah, it's for the AB stuff. I'm just sat here going click, 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 click.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, I guess I should take another look at that. Sorry, KHE. I really got to get that video done at some point.
Yeah, and below that is the controls for the RME, the Total Mix.
Okay, sorry. I'm easily just... Oh, really? I didn't know you could control Total Mix with a fucking Stream Deck.
There's a plugin for Stream Deck now.
Oh, fuck.
So I got rid of the monitor controller and I'm doing it all through the Stream Deck.
Wow. Okay, that's... sorry to get distracted. You can cut that part.
Squirrel!
Yes, I'm easily distracted. So it's like... This is why I highly recommend disconnecting your internet from your audio production machine, because it's just going to take you that much longer.
But I mean, that in itself that explains, I think, to me quite a bit of, because I'm very similar in the kind of easily distracted, why you kind of ended up video and audio.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, it's basically what I did in college. And this is the thing. I remember when I got my first DSLR, and I went, out and shot a music video and stuff like that. And I remember talking with the band. I'm like, this is just like when I was in college. I fucking love this stuff. So I really, really enjoyed it. So I was like, I expanded more into the video end of thing. Well, where were we at? We were talking about
bringing together the video.
Oh yeah, the video and the audio and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, I got a 60D and I started, offering music video services to the bands I was recording as well. So, I met up, with other bands I wasn't necessarily recording. They go record, another studio in town, might get to do a video, so there's a little bit of competition going on and all that kind of stuff. And this is like all right around the time, MySpace was just starting in and Facebook was just coming in kind of thing. So it was pretty cool. But YouTube started like, actually got hired. Well, I got hired on, I did a couple music videos, and then one guy I'd worked with was an actor on a film, and they were looking for a new cinematographer. So I got hired onto a local film as a director of photography and shot that. And I did a couple shoots and I got fired because the director had no respect for her actors or her crew or anybody else. It's just like me. But she didn't have shooting schedules. She didn't have locations. Nothing written down, of course. Oh, where's the location? Oh, just follow me. Who the fuck runs a film shoot like that? Just follow me? That kind of thing. And it's like, and then we get to the shoot, we get it lit, and then they'd stand around for 3 hours before we'd roll anything. She'd be debating with the actors how they were going to do this. It's like, why don't you have your fucking shots planned out? And then, it's 2 a.m, I got to go to work at 7, and she's still fucking around, and I'm like, let's fucking go. It's like, let's get this thing shot. What are you doing? And, and she didn't like that very much. And I'm like, you're wasting everyone's time. And I got fired. From the thing, my buddy called me up. She didn't even have the guts enough to fire me herself. She had my friend call me up. Said, yeah, they're going to let you go. And I'm like, fine with me. She kind of not going to respect the people who are fucking volunteering to help her make this film. Then that's fine. It's like, people have fucking jobs, you idiot. So
Standing up for the little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a common thread.
Yeah, she didn't really like that too much, but oh well, too fucking bad. And then so so I'm like, oh, this was summer of 2014, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna fire me? Okay, great. Watch what I do next. And I called my buddy Jamie and I said, hey, dude, let me borrow your Axe FX. And I did Axe FX versus The Real Deal. I thought, okay, fuck it. I'd done a couple of YouTube videos by then, how to get your band ready for the studio, how to hold a microphone, that kind of thing. But I wasn't quite sure what I had wanted to do. And right around the same time, my buddy John had released a film in Windsor called Border City Music Project. You can find that online. And I got to say the coolest line in the whole movie. I only had one line. They had a 2-hour interview with me and they only used one line. And that was where I talked about how I'd thrown autotune out of the studio. I wouldn't let bands work with it anymore because I was just sick of it. I'm like, no, you're going to come into my studio. You're going to play it for real. You're going to do it for real. There's no fucking autotune. There's no bullshit. And this was a packed theater, and the place went insane because we were talking about Rebels, right? And that's how I came on, like, just the fucking light bulb went off. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, now I know what I'm going to do my show about. So called my buddy Jamie, like, let me borrow your Axe FX. And so I did Axe FX versus The Real Deal, which was, I shot out, the Axe FX models against 4 real amps, and it was a very interesting video, and all the Axe FX fans hated it because it spent $3,000 on a toy, and they were very, very angry that, I came to different conclusions rather than and that I was capable of thinking for myself rather than just, worshiping at the altar of the Axe FX. Especially when I explain, it's like $700 for a fucking foot switch. Are you out of your fucking mind? That kind of stuff. Or explaining to people, it's like the first half hour of any show that this band I would do would be staring at my friend Jamie's ass as he's down on his knees trying to explain to the sound guy how to hook this thing into the PA system and send monitors back. Oh, well, yeah, my one favorite comment was, oh, well, sound guys will know what to do with that. Yeah. Not even fucking close. Definitely not in 2014, that's for sure.
I was going to say it's a little different now.
It's a little different.
Now they go, you brought an amp? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. But back then, there was a real issue with that, so it was still real new technology. I was just explaining the mishaps that would occur when using an Axe FX Live. I mean, obviously, the models have gotten way better since, and they're doing a much more convincing fucking job, that's for sure. But again, that's what 10 years of tech is going to do for you. Moore's Law being what it is.
Yeah.
So, and that video did really well. And then I did The Fans Deserve Better because, based on the feedback I got from that movie where, autotune sucks, and, did a whole thing on that, and that did really well. And I'm like, okay, maybe I might actually have a shot at doing this. Because a buddy of mine who was also trying to do YouTube at the time, he had called me up one day. He's like, dude, what's going on with your YouTube show? And this is before I got fired off that film. And he's like, you should really do this more. He's like, you're getting real feedback here. You're getting real engagement. And you should really consider doing this for real. So, okay. You know what? Let's go. So I got fired off the film. Okay, fuck it. That was my push right there. And I was doing like one video a week. And then, I did a bunch of videos from the course of midsummer 2014 up till the end of the year. And then, was it Ryan Bruce got me my first ticket to NAMM.
Right.
And that was through Two Notes. So thank you, Guillaume, and thank you, Ryan Bruce. And I went to my first NAMM. And I sat down, I went to some of the classes, and I sat there and I learned, here's how to get an endorsement deal. Here's how to work with these companies. Here's all this kind of stuff. And I would say this, Rob Scowen was the one who took me aside and said, hey man, I'm doing YouTube for a living, but you're going to do it too. And I'm like, yeah, right, Rob, whatever. Well, he was right because he saw something I didn't see in the show. He's like, you're going to be able to do this for a living. Trust me on this one. It's going to work out great. So every time I see him at an event, here's your beer. No, he took me aside for about three hours and explained to me how I could make a living on YouTube.
Right.
And it took a long time.
Yeah.
It took years. And I remember summer's 2016, things were really starting to cook on YouTube. And I remember we're in London, England on vacation, with me and my wife having a very long argument about doing YouTube full time. And she wasn't ready for me to do that and whatnot. And I got very upset about that. Not yelling and screaming, but more like shutting down emotionally kind of thing. And that was kind of a rough thing. That was a very dark day, actually. But, just trying to explain to people that, yeah, I really want to do this. And, my wife saying, well, look at how much money you made, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. And then finally, she said, okay, talk to a financial planner. So we did that. And the financial planner was like, yeah, you know what you're doing. So there we go.
Well, especially at that time,
yes,
that was weird.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
unheard
Right.
of, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't retire from Chrysler till like 2020.
Yeah.
Spring 2020, something like that. Like it took quite a while.
Yeah, you kind
for
of
that.
phased out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, yeah, that was when I officially quit. Was 2020? Was it 2020? Yeah, it was spring 2020.
Yeah, because it was around the time of the thing that came, that shut down the world.
Yes. Yeah, I remember
just
that.
before
And I
that.
wasn't there for that. I was kind of on like leave at the time, and I just like, and I saw where things were going. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm out while I can.
Yeah.
I'll take the money and run. And this was the thing. Walking away from a Chrysler job was a big thing to walk away from. I fucking despised the place. I really did. That was one reason I was angry all the time. Is 'cause it turns out I had a lot of unresolved anger issues with my day job that I didn't realize I had. I didn't realize how much I hated that place till I wasn't there anymore. Like, holy fuck. It's like being in prison for 27 years. It's just like, it's just a situation you can't change. You have to deal with. It just makes you, it just fucking just drains you.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a fucking millstone around your neck. And,
Do you think that maybe the studio was part of being an escape from that?
oh, it absolutely was. Because that's the thing about the assembly line. It's a monotony thing. It's like you have 47 seconds, put your fucking parts in the van. Great. Now do it another 500 times. And we'll see you back here another 6 days. Yeah. Like you're just there 5, 6, 7 days a week at times.
Yeah.
And it's constant and it's, nothing you can do. So, I mean, like the thing was, I'd read a lot when I was there. I'd read books on recording and mixing and all that kind of stuff. Everything I could get my hands on the subject. And I just, read all kinds of magazines about recording. I had like a stack about that wide. I read every single thing I could get my hands on. Then I got my first iPod, started listening to books on tape, all kinds of, it was like, that was the cool thing about Chrysler. We could have a personal music player. So I listened to a lot of books on tape, that kind of shit. So that was pretty cool. Where was I with this? The whole leaving thing though, but that was a big step. Like it was a lot to walk away from because you're walking away from a pension, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure I was set before, I walked out the door. Oddly enough, my wife got to retire first, not me. 'Cause she had an arm injury. She's sitting on 3 degrees and she was like building the seats for the minivans.
Right.
And she's not big. So it really did hurt her. And so she wound up getting some chronic pain, carpal tunnel, that kind of stuff. It was fucking nasty. Human beings are not designed to do repetitive work.
No.
At all.
I know the feeling. I mean, whenever I do like IR captures and that kind of thing, it's a very similar process. That like if I'm doing an hour of it, that's fine. But one time I did something like 7 solid days where it's 60 seconds and then go, and 60 seconds and then go, and it's not enough time to sit down and relax.
Yeah.
And it's that constant. It's the water torture kind of thing,
yeah,
isn't
exactly,
it? That it's
yeah.
just there's no break.
Well, yeah, I've still got physical issues. I still got some sciatica issues and stuff where muscles are all jammed up and they're coming loose. But it's like probably something I'll have the rest of my life because of that. And the thing is, everybody there has an injury of some kind.
Right.
Everybody gets hurt. And there's just no escaping. Oh, we've got ergonomic states. Bull fucking shit they do. They want to get as many vans down the line as they can, as fast as possible, and as cheaply as possible. And you're just a fucking body. You're a bag of meat and bones. And when you break, they'll just get another one. So never, ever, ever, guys, if I could, you take away anything from this, never hurt yourself for a corporation because they do not give a fuck about you at all. You only live life once. Is it really worth hurting yourself, hurting the only fucking chance at life, ruining that so somebody can make profit off you? I don't fucking think so. Tell them to go to hell.
Yeah. So, well, so I suppose that does bring us up to the point where you did get out of that. But
Yes.
Even before that, I mean, you're pretty sure you had a clear plan of where you were going.
Yeah.
Because I
look back at those days and I'm like, how the hell did I do 3 videos a week? Like, I started doing video. We had a break there in 2015 for about 8 weeks or something like that while the plant was down. So I went from 1 video a week to 3 videos a week, and everybody loved that. And I'm like, how the fuck did I do 3 videos a week from like, February 2015 to about end of 2018? I did like fucking 3 solid years, maybe almost 4 years of 3 videos a week while still having a full-time job. I don't know how the hell I did it, honestly.
Well, that's what you were pouring your energy into. I guess, is that you were just clocking in at work with probably. I will bet you were at work thinking about.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
What you're gonna say, what you're gonna do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, writing scripts, you fucking name it, wherever I could. But it's just like I'd come home, crash out for a couple hours, get up and shoot.
As crazy as it is, that's passion in action. That's why you're here now.
I guess.
I
I'm
mean,
just like-
not that you could do that ad infinitum.
yeah, exactly. I'm doing this like, full time now, and I can still barely do 3 videos a week. And I'm like, how the fuck did I ever get this done?
Well, the other thing, I mean, I don't want to sound insulting, but we're not getting any younger.
No, we're not.
And every year that we do this, and I mean, I'm younger, but I feel it.
Yeah.
And I'm working a lot, and I love doing this, but sometimes it's like, oh, first world problems, but you sit down and go, oh. I mean, it's a bit of an existential question, but now when we're filming this, what is it that makes you want to get up off the sofa again and go, right, next video?
Oh, I just love what I do. It's like, it's great. It's like, you get to get to do music for a living. Why wouldn't I love it? Yeah, sure. It can be a little draining at times, but sure. I mean, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll be, typing, working away on script or whatnot, got a coffee. Wife will wake up about an hour later, just come stumbling. What the fuck you smiling at? And I'm like, I got to do music for a living. So
Yeah.
there's that. So, that's kind of fun. It's cool, teaching people, how to make better records for cheaper. That's a lot of fun. I really do get a lot of satisfaction out of that. There's a great design, I really do like helping people. Let's just put it that way. And hopefully help them make better records and realize, hey guys, if you just copy and paste your courses, that's not good music. That's just shit.
Yeah.
It's like if you play your courses, that's what you want to do. Yeah. Oh, and if you sat there and went, what's a chorus? Yeah, you're part of the problem.
But you can always learn.
Yes, exactly.
That's a whole different topic to talk about, because as much as we both kind of entertain on YouTube, the core of it really is education.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And it always has been, because as much as there's the loud, shouty character, the first video that you did that broke was you're not ready for the studio and like, here's why.
Yeah.
And it was really educational. I mean,
Sure.
I was sat in here and so I already kind of knew, but for me, that was like, I found a poster boy for like, kind of watch this.
Yes, exactly. Well, the funny thing was that video came out of something I started writing in the 90s, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I watched a couple bands come in. My first couple bands came in like at the end of the 90s, and, saw a couple similar mistakes. And it was going to be a handout.
Right.
And I was just going to write, I wrote a bunch of stuff. Here, you guys are coming in, read this. This is what you need to know. No, this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
And I never got around to finishing it. So when like 2012, I think I did that, How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio sometime around 2012.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck it. You know what? YouTube came along. I'd done a bunch of very successful threads on the Andy Sneap forum from about 2005 to about 2010. They're still on there. It's called. There's one, about recording heavy drums, and that Clayman tone, that kind of thing. And those have got like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on there, and they're very long threads. They go like hundreds of pages deep and shit like that. Those were started by me, and that's kind of where the YouTube thing kind of got its. Kind of got started, actually. And I was almost thinking of starting my own forum. And I remember, a few of the guys on the Sneap forum be like, dude, nobody would go there. And I'm like, you're right. So when I wanted to do How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio, I thought, fuck it, let's do a YouTube video. I mean, like, maybe I can help a few people, along the way. So, I can send the bands I'm working with to this as well, but maybe somebody else can. I remember I put that out on the Sneap forum, and it was kind of a 50-50 divide. A lot of people were like, you're going to ruin your business, man. You keep saying that. Nobody's going to want to come record with you. Yeah, they were right.
Yeah, look what happened.
Yeah. And the other half were like, dude, do more. And I'm just like, it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do, because I'm like, kind of said what I wanted to say. And then I remember going down to Memphis. And, went and checked out Sun Records. Don't go. It's a fucking complete waste of time and a tourist trap.
Tourist trap, yeah.
Yeah. No. Don't go to Sun Records. But I remember we were down on Beale Street and we checked out a blues band. The singer said, I'm just like, oh my God, it's fucking universal that everybody does this. It's not just the death metal kids. So I did How to Hold a Microphone, and, just had a good time with that. And I remember I got a very angry phone call from one of my clients the next day about that. You motherfucker, son of a bitch. And he's a regular in the comments on the show now. He finally got it. I wasn't picking on him in particular. I was just picking on everybody who, insists on holding a mic like an absolute moron.
Well, that's something that's worth talking about. The people who take things personally.
Oh, yeah.
because they think that you've aimed an insult at them.
No, I'm mostly insulting myself. These are all mistakes I've made. That's the thing. I'm my own biggest critic because I used to be a singer in a band, and guess what I used to do? All my friends would go, we can't understand a fucking thing you're saying. Oh, no, this is great. No, I'm yelling at myself, guys. Trust me. I'm the biggest idiot of them all.
It's funny. That's what I think a lot of people don't see. They see the thing you're saying and take so little context.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, how do you deal with that? You just
Sorry, guys. It's not all about you.
It's just water off a duck's back at this point,
Yeah.
I guess. But did it ever make you kind of think, really get to you, or is it just never?
Oh, sure. I've had good days. I've had bad days. We all do. I remember, a couple of interesting things that came along. I remember one day, I can't remember what the fuck video was, but I pissed a lot of people off, because, I like telling the truth and I don't sugarcoat it. It's like, and, I was getting really beat up in the comments badly about one thing or another. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but I was just kind of bummed. And then I checked my Facebook messages and I got a message from Tui Madsen. And he's like, dude, don't ever change. That was exactly what I needed to hear. So Tui, thank you so much for that. That made my day.
Yeah, those little,
And I'm like, wow, there's somebody whose opinion I really respect, you know what I mean? And that kind of made my day.
Those kind of things, they can change so much.
I mean, like, even when I did How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio, I remember the guys at Studio Fredman sent a picture of them watching my video to me. I'm like, oh, these guys watched my stuff,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how just that one little thing from somebody who you respect can just make you float.
Yeah, exactly.
And makes the whole thing worth it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, like, I've gotten a lot of compliments from my contemporaries and people who I really admire and that kind of shit. So, it's cool. And then, I've gotten some shit from some other people, too. It's like, they're like, you're an influencer. You got to be real careful what you say. All right, calm down. But a little chat back and forth definitely helps. So it's no big deal.
I think, again, as time goes on and people are starting to understand YouTube as a medium, I think people are more accepting of the kind of that they don't have to just completely react to every little thing. I mean, in terms of peers and people we respect, people who've got their wits about them, not kind of the 1% who'll react to anything.
Right.
But that's meeting people as well that have been influenced by you who are not the peers.
Yeah.
That makes my day every day.
Oh yeah, that totally does. I mean, like, just dude, I met like two fans in the airport today. Like when we landed in Manchester, one kid, are you Glenn Fricker? Yeah, how's it going? Another guy, Mr. Fricker, I love your jealous stuff. And I'm like, wow, well, thank you very much. That really does make my day. I mean, like, it really does. It's hilarious. They'll all be out in public, and that'll happen quite a bit. And I remember we're in Stratford, Ontario. We went to go. It's they got a world-class live theater there and whatnot. It's really amazing. We went to go see Spamalot at a fan ran it, and my wife's just rolling her eyes. She's like, can't we just get one fucking night? And I'm just like, shut up. Be nice to the fans.
That reminds me of something that Geddy Lee said, though, for anyone who doesn't know.
Oh yeah, these are words to live by.
Which was that he was in a very similar situation when he was kind of, they'd got some fame. I think it was around the kind of Moving Pictures Tom Sawyer era when you couldn't move, especially in Canada, without seeing
Rush
everywhere.
Yeah.
And apparently he'd met a couple of fans and he was like, I'll just give it a miss. And then it was halfway down the freeway before he turned around and said, no, I can't do that.
Yep.
And because the impression you leave on every person has a knock-on effect.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's like, that's the thing I always say this. Yeah, it's like, he said, it's like, if I get stopped, I've got time for that. And I thought that was the best advice ever. So if I get stopped, I've got time for that. So if I see you out on the streets and whatnot and you're nervous about coming to say hi, don't worry. Nobody can ever be that mean all the time. It's fine. I remember Rob Scallon when he came up to me, my very first name was like, Rob, I love your videos. He's like, wow, you're so nice. And I'm like, sorry to disappoint.
That brings us back to the original point that I was saying, which was that the you on camera that
I just turn all the filters off. I just say what's really on my mind. You stupid motherfuckers!
And you just turn it up to 11.
Turn it up to 11. Yeah, it's just like, yes, I'm just ranting and raving. It's like,
but at this point,
it's like, come on, guys, have you ever seen porno? Like, the girls, do you really think they get that turned on? You mean they don't?
Oh, they love it. But it's part of, I think, the entertainment factor that brings people in. It's like, come in for the screaming, stay for the education.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Okay, here's another one. When I did How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio, yeah, that one blew up like crazy, and that basically what started my career. I was very lucky because I did a very dry video before that about tuning drums, and that actually wound up getting like 100,000 views eventually. But it was very dull and very 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 narrative, and very factual. I don't know if you've seen that one or not. If you go on my channel, you go way back. It's there.
Yeah. I've seen them all because at that time there wasn't much else.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought, hey, let's start doing this, and it did okay, but it didn't do great. You know what I mean? It's like, and so when I did How to Get Your Band Ready for the Studio, I said, I'm like, fuck it. You know what? I'm just gonna say what's on my mind, and I'm gonna have fun with it. And that video took off, but I remember I started searching. There was another video about getting your band ready for this dude. And there was a guy sitting in front of a mixer board, and it was just, he was the most boring fucking guy. And he's just pre-production. I'm like, well, that's no help. What does that mean?
Yeah, what is pre-production?
And he went on for 12 minutes. And yeah, that's the thing. Henry Rollins said this in Getting the Band. He says, a lot of people can talk a lot and say absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to make a fucking point. And again, that's where the whole auto working things comes in, because I know how to get to the fucking point because I'm used to not having any time. So, and the other thing was when I was doing music videos, I was trying to learn color grading. And I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials about color grading and learned absolutely nothing because nobody would tell you anything. Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to go to first you got to go to open file, and it's like, okay, we know how the Windows file system works, okay? Don't treat your audience like they're complete morons unless they play bass. Seriously though, it's, if you're going to do a tutorial, show the person the thing that they actually clicked on the video for, not the other, the 5 minutes of bullshit and introduction that takes you to get that. No, we already know what the video is going to be about. It said that on the title screen. And the reason the person clicked on your video is because it said that on the title screen. So we already know that part. Seriously, we can figure it out all by ourselves. That drove me absolutely batshit. So that was another reason I'm like, I need to get to the point. And I remember getting that feedback from the Sneap forum there when I first put that video up. Everyone's like, wow, you really cut the bullshit out. You just got right into it. I'm like, that's what you're here for. That's why you clicked on the fucking video. I knew that from day one. Skip the bullshit. Just get to the point.
And that's the way.
That's why your intros suck! Especially in your songs. It's like, we get it. You're trying to form a mood. Yes, and the mood is slumber.
Yes. But that's the way that the entire of YouTube has gone, because it's based on the way that humans work.
Okay. What do you mean?
As in, like, people don't want to wait for 3 minutes.
No, they don't.
And so, with 1 billion plus 2 billion, however many billion people watching, if enough people give the hint to YouTube of going next video, eventually YouTube's going to go, okay, well, people are going next video. Let's give them the one that doesn't.
Exactly.
And so that's the thing about YouTube, is they're not trying to dictate, I think, how we should watch.
No.
We're telling them.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, and they're just reacting to it.
Exactly. So my suggestion would be to anybody who wants to do YouTube, learn how to make a fucking point and do that first.
Yeah.
Skip the intros. You don't need intros. I even dropped the Eagle Has Landed. I don't know if you've noticed that. For the most of my show, I don't have a lot of that. I mean, like, because it's just 30 seconds or whatever of fucking just dead air, basically. It's like, it's not what you guys clicked on for. Intros are bullshit. Get rid of them.
Fair point.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different conversation, is that YouTube in the last year or two has really started to morph and really refine down and become quite brutal. I think the number of creators has gone up and the number of viewers hasn't.
Oh, I don't know how true that is.
To a point. I mean, there's a limit of human population.
That's true.
It's starting to saturate, I think, that because you can get YouTube on any device anywhere.
Sure, that's true.
So if you want to watch it, you're already watching it, right?
Okay.
But the number of people who want to create, because the tools needed to create are also more accessible, is starting to balloon.
Sure.
So it's becoming a much more competitive space.
Okay. But it's like anything. I mean, it's like music as well. I mean, like, you better be entertaining or nobody's going to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, believe me, this is something I'm constantly working on. How can I make my videos better? How can I make my videos better? How can I make this entertaining? So hopefully, I've been here in Europe, for the last couple of weeks. We've done a couple of really cool videos. Hopefully one or two you guys are going to dig. You know, we got a cool one where we tried, you know, we went to Vienna at the Lewitt studio and we did mic the guitar cabinet in like 5 different acoustic locations just to hear the differences in the tone, see what happened. So we did like, you know, studio, stairwell, bathroom, CEO's office, and the rooftop. That was fucking cool.
Ooh.
So we did close mic and a room mic. So, and the cool thing is you're going to be able to download those tracks and check it out. So, you know, if you're wondering how much your room is working against you, this should give you a fair idea what's up.
I mean, yeah, I know how much the room works against you, but then again, I, like you, have been doing this as a living
Sure.
for a very long time. But that's a conversation because who's the video aimed at? Is it someone who's never done anything with audio? Is
Yeah.
it somebody who kind of knows? Is it someone who's been doing it a while but might not have got some finer points? Or is it all of them?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. I mean, like there's far more beginners than experts. So I mean, like that's the thing. I'm, you know, as I get more and more into it, I've taken a couple courses about, you know, figuring out who exactly the audience is, who the people watching my videos are, and, you know, I'm kind of figuring, you know, so I want to make the kind of videos those people want to watch. So if I can, you know, if I can help somebody along the way, and that's the thing. The basic thing about the show has to be helping the person at home who wants to run a home studio.
Something I struggled with is that my most popular videos are the basic stuff because it's got the most people who want to learn. But my real passion is the real deep dive stuff.
Sure.
How do I balance that without tanking the channel?
Yeah, that's the real trick, isn't it? And it's like that's the fine point. How do you do that? Don't be boring.
Well, there is that. Yeah. I mean, it's for me, it's a rhetorical question because I'm going to stick with the semi-academic kind of route and you know, make it interesting, but not oversimplify it.
Sure.
But then I think I'm aimed slightly at a different audience because I've definitely decided I'm happy with a niche route
Okay.
and kind of I think you're okay with it being the broader appeal.
Sure.
Has that always been kind of the decision of I want to reach as many people as possible?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like that was the whole point from the get go. Is like, let's see who I can help. You know, and hopefully, yeah. So far, that's been worked out pretty well. People keep coming back year after year after year, and for that, I'm absolutely grateful. You know, so that's cool. It allows me to do some really cool stuff. And I mean, like, you know, and this thing, whether it's helping people with production or helping people make better choices, like when it comes to buying consumer gear or that kind of stuff, you know, where I can help, I'll do it. I mean, like we've had an awful lot of fun over the years, you know, busting some guitar myths, you know, when it comes to things that are actually going to change your sound when you're recording guitar. You know, it's not the tubes, kids. Trust me on this one. It's not. Well, don't trust me if I can go watch the video when I can show you. Or, you know, stuff like that, you know, just how to avoid the real pitfalls, like, especially when it comes to recording guitar, because there's just so much misinformation out there about what actually is really going to affect your sound. And it's, you know, it's, oh, pickups, wood, tubes. No, it's none of that crap. It's where you put the fucking mic in front of the fucking speaker. That's the fucking important part. You know, and what type of speaker you're using. And, you know, then he gets into a deep dive of the minutia of the different speakers when they came out and how they were building them at the time. Oh, yeah, that's just a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
But it's also the most important part of your sound when you're recording. So you got to keep that in mind.
But unlike, I think, a lot of kind of the previous, you know, the forum generation, everyone would have a belief and
everybody would have an opinion, but nobody would back it up with any kind of tangible evidence.
I think that's a big difference now is that you can construct experiments to show people, look, this is a blind test.
Yeah.
What do you think? Talking of blind tests.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, tell me a little about the pickup video.
Well, no, we did the vintage guitar tone challenge.
That's the one.
Yeah, that was great because it was me with 4 vintage guitars. You know, we had like a 62 Fender, or no, it's a 62 ES335, a 66 Fender Strat. No, we had 3 guitars or something like that, and like a 2000 Paul Reed Smith. You know, just beautiful instruments and whatnot. And then we did a blind test. We had Christian Bay play the guitars, except he played, you know, like a 1985 Harmony and a couple other real pieces of shit. And 1 was a humbucker and 2 were single coils. And that was the thing. Everybody could pick out the single coil in a blind test. So we did it clean. We did it with medium gain and with high gain. Everyone's like, oh, this is the Strat. This is the Strat. This is the Strat. And it's like, yeah, you guys are just listening with your eyes because only one guy got it. Only one guy. Yep. Out of like the 1,000 comments I got on that video or something like that. And he didn't identify what guitar it was. He says he's like, this was the real guitar, because we had like one good guitar and then 3 crap guitars coming. One guy's like, that's the real guitar, the other ones are crap. I'm like, okay, well, you're doing better than most. But most people, thought we were doing, using the Strats. I'm like, I didn't actually say in the video we were going to play the Strat. I just said, I want you to pick out what guitar is what.
Well, that's the interesting thing for me, that in the video you didn't say we have this guitar, and this guitar, and we're going to compare them.
No, they were just sitting there.
Yeah, you either playing them or just they were sat there, and you went, we're going to compare some vintage guitars.
I didn't even say vintage guitars. I just said we're going to compare some guitars. And everybody just made assumptions based on what they saw. And, the comments back was, oh, that's unethical, you should have this. And then I had an actual psychiatrist come on and say, that was a good fucking test.
Yeah, it's called a blind test.
Yes, exactly. And so the conclusion we drew from that is, when guitar players don't see what they're listening to, they've got no fucking clue what they're talking about. And, if you want your evidence, just read the comments in those videos, because it was hilarious. Guitar players love talking out of their asses when they've got a visual representation, but when they actually when it comes down to it, when they have to use their ears, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And, and one of my favorite TV shows was Penn and Teller Bullshit. They did the exact same thing with like wine tasters, where they, they devised a test where they, had all these beautiful labels made up for all these different types of wine, and they just filled it with this $3 rot gut. And watching these assholes just fawn all over these different labels, it was just hysterical. So that was a big inspiration for my vintage guitar tone test. Cool thing is, all you guys who think Dumbles are really worth something, oh man, yeah, you idiots who spent $100,000 on vintage Dumble lamps. Yeah, guess what? It's the speaker. They just happen to be loaded with some nice speakers. There's nothing really special about a Dumble compared to anything else.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Thank you.
But I think the thing that was supposed to be the thing about Dumbles is that you could go to him and go, can you change things my way?
Yeah.
Which means if it's a $3,000 amp and you paid for it, great. But it's a $3,000 amp, not $100,000.
Not a $100,000 amp, exactly. The insane thing is, though, that special thing that he changed still gets put through the filter of the speaker, because that's basically a permanent EQ.
Of course, yeah. But all other things being equal, I mean, that was the math for that. But yeah, it is silly, I think, that they go for that amount of money, but that's just
well, guitar players are just dumb. I mean, like, they pay $5,000 for a Klon pedal, and then, JHS does the thing on the Bad Monkey, and then the prices on those go up. It's like, oh,
the controversy on that was so funny. But that's the thing, the prices didn't go up because of the JHS video. They went up because people tried to buy them.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and then it just got stupid.
Where are we going with that conversation?
It's just guitar players are sheep, and will follow trends, not based on any kind of actual reality, but on perceived value and the fear of missing out. I think that's where that comes down to.
Yeah, fear of missing out is a big.
I'm sorry if I have a bit of contempt for musicians. I've just been working with them for decades, and just like,
And there's something that's probably important to clarify, seeing as though we're doing the kind of behind the mask thing, is it's not all guitarists or all bass players. It's
all
a majority.
No, it's all you idiots. No, I'm teasing. Of course it's not all, but there just seems to be an awful lot of them who aren't very fucking smart.
Yeah.
It's like fool and his money are soon parted. That comes to mind. It's like, guys, seriously, smarten up a little bit before you drop your money on stuff. The great thing was, I remember, I see you got a 6505 Plus combo over there, and that's a great dirt cheap amp. They sound phenomenal. I love mine to death. And I did a video on it, and people are, oh, you're going to raise the price on these. You're going to raise the price on these. Only if you pay the expanded price. That's it. If you don't pay it, guess what? The price doesn't go up. And that's what I said to everybody. Don't pay over $500 for one of these. You got to be out of your fucking mind too. I got mine for 325 American dollars.
Yeah.
Seriously, it was a steal. You don't have to spend a lot of money on an amp. Just don't be a sucker.
And that could be said for so many things, but it's always the vocal minority, isn't it, that seem to... A public forum like YouTube, it looks from the outside like the majority would have an issue with something, when it's not. It's 1% of people that sit and write.
And most of them aren't even wearing pants.
Yeah. hold on, someone is wrong on the internet. And that's something that a lot of people miss, I think, is that when a lot of people are angry on the internet, a lot of people is not most of them.
No.
And
this is what I try and explain to some of my friends too. It's like, okay, there were a couple complaints. Big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, if I get somebody makes a complaint that gets 3,000 thumbs up on that complaint, okay, that might be an issue then.
Yeah. But yeah, a lone voice, or even 10 or 100 lone voices, at the time when you're getting hundreds of thousands of views,
Yes,
is not a majority.
exactly.
And it's something that I have had to deal with quite a lot with some of the videos I've made, because I don't tend to go towards controversy, but when I do, I usually come armed with a full set of statements and beliefs and expand on what I'm doing, and you still get idiots going, "How dare you don't know what you're talking about."
Sure, and those are the people who will never conduct a test on their own.
Yeah.
The ones that here's the thing I've noticed about YouTube though: the ones that bitch the loudest are the people who have absolutely no content on their own channels.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, I always say this. It's like, look, if you don't like my test, this actually circles back to something at Gearfest. Somebody had asked me. He's like, "How do you deal with all the hate comments? You know, when you do a test on like pickups and stuff like that? How do you handle that?" I'm like, I'm like, zero fucks given. I don't give a shit. I worry about the guy who makes the better test.
Yeah.
And then if he does make a better test, I want to talk to that guy and see how I can make my test better.
Yeah.
That's how we learn. Yeah. But most people who do this kind of stuff don't bother making a test. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to, because that would take effort.
Yes. And so I think that's the lesson to take away, is if you disagree with what Glenn says, prove it and do it properly.
Yeah. Do an actual test and share your testing methodology with people as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing about testing. This is something I want to bring more into what I'm doing for my tests. Is, you know, when I do my conclusions, I'll be like, okay, here's how we did it. Here's how you can replicate it at home for yourself. See what results you get by doing it the same thing. See, I find the biggest thing is, do we have one around? Oh, hey, we got this. See, this is a Palmer reamp box.
Yeah.
Okay, now the reamp box, this is the Guitar Myth Destroyer, because it allows you to maintain the the same performance from experiment to experiment, so you can run the same guitar performance. There's no variations. Like, I just saw a tube test video the other day, and done by a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh, well, I heard this tone change here and I heard this tone change there," and I'm like, you're playing the guitar differently each time. Of course you're going to hear a difference. Did you re-up? Well, no. Well, why the hell not? My favorite tube test video ever. Oh, I changed my tubes and I got a huge tone difference. It's like, motherfucker, you changed your cabinets. Like, oh,
yeah,
that will definitely change your sound.
That's the thing that so many people miss, I think, is that they'll change too many variables at once.
Yes, exactly. You have to do it one at a time.
But most people are not scientific about it. They go with their gut, and they don't understand that as much as being happy with your tone is important.
Sure. If you actually want to learn something, you need to do it one piece at a time. And what you want to do is you want to localize what's happening, so you can make observations. Go, oh, well, this is doing the one thing, but this isn't.
And refining the process is an important thing. I remember I did a video years and years ago comparing a 412, 212, and a 112. But they weren't from the same brand, even though they had the same speakers. And I got some, so I redid it. And I got the same brand, Zilla Cabs, to make me 3 cabinets. And I ported the same speakers over.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
And just mic'd up the same one. And that was the start probably of my journey of going right down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
But from there, the better tests made for better results.
And yeah, it's like Jim Will had a great point about cabinets, though. It's like, cabinet sound has more to do with geometry than anything. And like, it's not the cabinet material, it's just how it's shaped.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really fucking cool. That was a really good experiment he did on cabs.
Yeah. And it's all percentages as well, because like I think the material of the cab does make a difference, but it might be 1%.
I don't even know if it's that much. I mean, like we did chipboard, we did particle, or we did MDF, and we did plywood. Yeah. MDF and plywood maybe had a like 0.5% difference. Actually, I thought the MDF might have been just a tiny bit louder because it's a heavier cab. Sure. Whereas the chipboard, I definitely had tone wood because it hummed. Yeah. And it's like, here's the thing, guys. If you have tone wood in your guitar cab, that's a bad thing.
No bueno. Yeah. But that's my point, is that 1% compared to the, like, if you change the dimensions by a tiny bit, and that would have been a 5% difference.
Yes.
Yeah. So while some people will try and counter argue, yes, it does make a difference. Yeah,
It's
but
like it's just changing the angle on your baffle is going to change your bottom end, because you go from having standing wave to having one that breaks up.
yeah, everything makes a difference. So it's not a valid argument, because, what makes the biggest difference?
The speaker.
Or the dimension afterwards is the second.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, is it, open, closed is probably the third.
Yep. Yeah, there's all kinds of variables, and it's very interesting
But
stuff.
it's descending priority.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, pickups are like about 1,000 steps removed from your speaker.
Yeah. And so many people will try and argue until they're blue in the face about the one thing they've tunnel visioned into. And probably to close out this section, what would you say to somebody who has... Let's give them the benefit of the doubt for a minute, and say somebody has ended up tunnel visioning into being obsessed with a particular thing. What would you say to that person to try and kind of break the spell?
Is it really getting you what you want? I mean, like, then again, it's all about perspective. What are you trying to do? Are you just playing by yourself in the room, or are you recording? I mean, like, my whole perspective is simple. It's like, I got a client comes into the door. Somebody might want a Pantera type sound, but somebody might want Slayer, Metallica, that kind of thing. I need to know what's going to get me those kind of sounds. And that's kind of how a lot of my science experiments came out, because, I had one band who wanted to come, they wanted an In Flames sound, and I couldn't get it for the life of me. Could not figure it out. And it's sure, I tried pickups. I tried this. I tried that. None of that shit worked. And then I finally called up Frederick one day, and I'm like, hey, dude, what do I got to do? He's like, yeah, you got to get a valve state in there. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Because that's got a very unique sound. Because that's a tube solid state hybrid.
And I'm guessing you, before that, had been tunnel visioning into the
the on-off axis, speaker kind of thing. And, it turns out, that thing. And then I find out, it's like, you want that particular sound, you need to get the vintage 30s from that particular era, because they were made different. I remember going to Los Alamorts because I loved the sound of the first Ailstorm record, and looking at his vintage 30s, getting a flashlight on there, like, what the fuck? This doesn't look like mine, because his were see-through and mine were like dense. And I'm like, this isn't right. And I remember plugging in I'm like, well, there's the fucking sound right there. That's why I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, it's the fucking speaker.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, just to wrap things up, I suppose the takeaway there is kind of...
Buy good speakers.
Yes.
If you want good recorded guitar sound, start with great speakers.
And I'm sure Glenn has affiliate links in his description.
This is your video,
I
man.
know. But
so follow, hit Adam's affiliate links. He needs the money.
Indeed. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks, Glenn, for talking rubbish with me for an hour.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, man.
And we'll be back on your channel with something far more scientific and interesting.
Yeah, hopefully.
Very
we didn't bore you to death. Seriously though, click some links below. Send him some cash.
Thanks,
Support
everybody.
the hot poll.
Yes, indeed. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Now fuck off.
Awesome.
That's the English thing, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Okay. Thought of that in the last minute. Thought you might like that.
Yeah.